Yo, what is up, guys? This is Professor McPherson. So today we're going to talk about um, developing a working knowledge when you're researching and narrowing your topic. All right. So the first thing to know is why you should develop a working knowledge of your topic. In inquiry-based research, you often start with a topic that you don't know about. If you do know a little bit about it, that's great. You still need to develop more of a working knowledge of it, but more often than not, you're going to have to just learn about it. If you only have, and one of the main reasons for this is if you only have a surface level understanding of your topic, your research questions are pretty much going to be, and your research topics are pretty much going to be only surface level as well. So let's take the example of the NFL. Let's say that I want to write a research paper about the NFL. If I don't know a lot about the NFL, I only have pretty much an understanding of what I've just heard or maybe seen little blips on the internet or whatnot. And more often than not, what students will come up with is concussions. And then they'll start, and there's so much more to the NFL than just concussions, and there's so many more controversies in the NFL than just concussions. But that's what most people latch onto, is that very surface level understanding and that very surface level the topic. The problem with that is, number one, it's an exhausted topic. It's already been talked about to death. There's pretty much nothing that you knew that you're going to say about it. And another reason is that sometimes the question will morph into should kids play in the NFL, or should kids play football? And that's where the concussions will most likely lead. It's all very surface level. Plus, kids, whether they can play or not in football, has actually nothing to do with the NFL. So not only have they latched onto the surface level understanding and then question, they've veered away from the topic at hand, which they should have been talking about, the NFL. So and a lot of times too, and when people do go to the part where it's about they go to the question, should kids play in football because of concussions? That's also speculative. It really depends on the parents. It depends on, actually there's a lot of factors involved that are hard to research. I mean, yeah, can you research concussions? Of course you can. Can you? Are there valid debates with concussions? Yeah, sure there are. But what we're talking about here is very surface level understanding of the NFL. All right. So, but if I had deeper knowledge of my topic, a more generalized working knowledge, well, not generalized, but a deeper working knowledge of it, I might notice certain things that are happening that other people may not even notice. Like, for example, we talked about how I noticed that that a lot of NFL head coaches that are successful are not former NFL players. Yet, whenever an NFL player is asked, who would you rather learn from, and someone who's played in the NFL or someone who is not, they'll always say someone who's played in the NFL. Yet, those don't make the best head coaches. And I'm not talking about position coaches, I'm talking about just head coaches. So for the most part, ex-NFL players are not successful. So that's something that I noticed based on because I have a deeper understanding and deeper knowledge of this topic of football. So this is why you need to develop a deeper understanding and a working knowledge of your topic, because if you only know the surface level debates and the surface level elements of your topic, your research and your research questions are going to be just very shallow, and you're just going to pretty much be repeating what a lot of other people have already said. And remember, academic research, you're supposed to be adding something to the conversation. Academic research isn't just to go find out what people say about if let's say it's global warming, go find out what people say about global warming, and then just repeat back what people said, or pick a side on some issue in global warming, and then write an essay where you pick a side. That's good, but then you just repeat what other people have said. So academic research is intended for you to add something to the conversation, or look at an issue that's already been talked about from a different angle, from maybe a fresh new perspective. All right. So then you may ask, okay, so how do I develop a working knowledge of my topic? So I'll give you some tips. So the first one is you can look up definitions. What common terms and concepts are used in that discipline or in that topic? Wikipedia is a great place for this. When you're first in the preliminary stages of research, when you're just developing a working knowledge, Wikipedia is fine. Obviously, you can't use it in your final essays, but Wikipedia is a great way for you to get the generalized knowledge, get that working knowledge, because you could just look up NFL and you're going to find a ton of information. And then you could look up, NFL coaches, and you're going to find a ton of information. So Wikipedia is a great place for you guys to get grounded and understand the fundamentals of your topic. Conversations. You could also look up conversations and specifically debates. Like, is there anything that people debate about your topic? Like for the football one that I was talking about, football coaches, does anybody debate about maybe like the best methods, or the best ways to coach, or the worst ways to coach, or what are the conversations around surviving head coaching or coaching in the NFL? You could do ways that you could do this is you could use keyword search terms in Google, just regular Google Scholar, and the library databases as well. You could enter in a bunch of terms like NFL coaching controversies, controversies about coaching, disagreements about coaching methods. So try different variations of your topic when it comes to controversies and enter those into Google Scholar, your library databases. All right, and don't shortchange everybody wants to rush to Google. If I were trying to do academic research for a class, my first stop would be library databases. Now, it depends on your topic. You might not find anything there, but that's where I would go first. The next things that you could do to gain a deeper understanding or working knowledge of your topic is, who are the people? Who are the people involved? Are there experts about this? Whenever you see someone getting interviewed about this, are there one or two people that keep getting interviewed, or if you're reading something online, do you see the same authors? And then sometimes you can do this. If you are reading something online, go to the bottom and see who's in the bibliography, or who the contributors are, and do those names repeat? Do you see these, a similar name keep coming up? So who are the people involved in it? Who are the people, and then also who are the people in your general, in your general topic, as far as let's say it's NFL coaches, who are the coaches? Who are the successful ones? Who are the least successful ones? Another one is disciplines. So you want to ask yourself, what fields of expertise can you apply to your topic? And this is kind of this doesn't work all the time, but this is kind of a magic bullet to getting you to some type of more academic research that's at a higher level, that's much more elevated. Like if I'm doing NFL coaches, what can I apply to that? Can I apply psychology? Can I apply math? Can I apply science? Can I apply communications? Can I apply business leadership? What disciplines can I connect to this? You'd be surprised. I remember I did, what did I do? I did a search I went to the library databases and I did a search for Alice in Wonderland. But I didn't search in a movie database. I searched across all databases. nursing, business, history. I searched across all of it. And you would be surprised at the results that I got back that included Alice in Wonderland. There was even one that was in nursing that was about, it was something about, I did this search a long time ago. It was something about like, at the end of Alice in Wonderland, don't mean to spoil it for you, but the guy, it's just a man, but it's the man behind the mask, behind the curtain, and he turns out to be a real person. And it was about how like it was some theory that, you want to try to peel back the layers, or you want to try to take down the barriers between you and the patient so that you're not like this mysterious authority figure, that you can relate to them, and by relating to them you can help them more. It was very interesting. But anyways, the point is, you would be very surprised. I call it a junk search, where you take your key terms, your research terms, go to the library databases and put it into the library databases and search all the databases and see what comes up. All right. Let's see. The next part, that's basically, those are some ways to develop a working knowledge besides just, reading. Maybe those are some more focused ways to help you with that. The next thing I want to talk to you about is narrowing down your research, all right? Because more often than not, because you don't know a lot about your topic, or you may have a limited working knowledge of your topic may be too big, all right? So that's going to put a big burden on yourself, because there's so much to research about a topic that's too big. You're going to have to figure out what to exclude. You have to become a more efficient researcher, and by narrowing down your topic, you will become much more efficient, much more focused, and quite frankly, you will do less work, because if you're doing a broad topic, there's going to be a million things that you're going to have to research. But if you narrow it down, then it's going to give you an easier time. Like, for example, when I was doing all my working knowledge research that I just talked about with NFL coaches, I learned through all my research that I needed to narrow it down. I needed to exclude some things. And that's the first one, is elimination. One of the easiest ways for you to narrow your topic is to eliminate factors. So if I'm doing my research on the NFL coaches, I learned that like there's so many coaches on so many teams and so many years and so many, like it was overwhelming. So what I decided to do was narrow it down to just head coaches. So now I have all these things I have to look up, and I just narrowed it down to one. So that helps me become a more efficient researcher. My research is more targeted, and I don't have to research as much. The next thing is time. Time is another way that you can narrow your research. Let's say that I've narrowed it down to NFL head coaches, and then I still think, it's just too much time, or still too much to research. Then I could go, what about, I remember when I was growing up that in the 90s, the Dallas Cowboys with Troy Aikman and Emmitt Smith and Michael Irvin were super dominant. They won, I think it was like 3 Super Bowls they won. So maybe I could research just the head coaches in the NFL during that time period. And maybe something emerges out of it, or some pattern emerges, or I make some observation that kind of jumps out to me. Another one is place. You could focus on a certain place. For example, I'll give you 2 examples actually. The first one could be kind of related to what we just said before. Like instead of researching all the head coaches and all teams, maybe we just focus on one team. So one place, like Detroit or New England, like we just focus on one place. You could also expand your thinking to other things, like one thing that comes to mind is hot temperature, teams that play in hot climates head coaches with teams that play in hot climates versus head coaches with teams that play in cold climates. So that's place. That's again place. So place could be important. You could also limit it to a person. Let's say that I go through all my exploration and I'm developing a working knowledge of head coaches, and Bill Belichick keeps coming up. And so I go, okay, well, I like the Patriots, so what I'm going to do is he keeps popping up. That sounds interesting to me, so I'm going to start researching him in more depth. So now we funnel it down into one person. And so now my research, again, like we were talking about being much more efficient and focused, well, now we focused it down even more onto that one person. So that now excludes all this other stuff that we have to research. We're getting better at it. That's what we're doing, okay? The last one is the one where I think that you can get the best ideas from, you can get the best topics from, is observation, where you look for a pattern. When you see patterns, and this is also, I don't know if you've ever taken a literature class or a poetry class or anything like that. This applies to life as well. When you see a pattern, that matters, all right? That if you see a pattern, something happening over and over again, that might be important. Like I talked about earlier, I noticed when I was researching NFL head coaches, the pattern that most of them had not played in the NFL. The ones that were successful, I'm talking about, especially like Hall of Fame coaches. So that's a pattern I noticed. And then from it, I came up with the question, well, why is that? Why? That seems silly to me, okay? Or contradictory to me, not silly. So what you want to do is you want to look for patterns. What patterns do you see? So when you're researching, what patterns do you see? And I'm not talking about just like reading. I'm talking about you should actively be like bookmarking things and taking notes, developing that working knowledge so it can lead you to a good narrowed topic. So what you need to do now is develop it. Once you have a topic, narrow your topic, try to get it down, try to be a much more efficient and effective researcher and exclude all kinds of extraneous stuff that you don't need to look up. It's okay? So narrow that topic down. And you do that by generating a working knowledge or developing a working knowledge. You got to learn. You have to be kind of like a semi-expert at your topic. And if you only have a surface level understanding of your topic, you're going to have a very shallow paper. All right. So anyway, I hope that's helpful. You guys have a great day, and I will see you next time. Later.